Hey guys, it's Paige at Cover Books, and I'm finally getting back on track doing like my wrap-ups and stuff of that nature. So there's not even a point to doing a January and a February wrap-up just because I literally read I read no books in January, and I probably read like 2 books in February, but they were both ebooks. Or no, they weren't both ebooks, but they were, I think one was a book that I had an ARC tour and then I sent it back, and then the other was an ebook or something of that nature. So I don't have either of them to show you, so there's not even a point. This month, I actually read 4 books, which is pretty good since considering the last couple months I've been reading, like, little to none. So I read 4 books, 2 books, 3 of them were physical books. One was an ebook, one I don't have. One of the physical books I don't have, though, because I had to send it back to the ARC tours. So, the first book that I finished in March was Vengeance by Miranda, and if you don't know, Miranda wrote Fracture, which I also got from Around the World Art Tours when it came out a couple years ago, and I read it, and I really liked it. I enjoyed it enough to want the second book, but it was kind of weird, but at the same time it was really creepy and good. So I grabbed that, and then when I found out that they were touring this one, I asked for this one too, and she actually told me, when I read it, she said, you don't have to send this one back because the tour's over and that person doesn't want it back, so you can keep it. I was like, oh, cool, score. So I'm keeping this, and I actually put it up for auction in ARC Cycling, but they're going on a hiatus, so they told me that I could just keep it. So if anybody wants this, let me know and I'll send it to you, because I don't keep ARCs after I read them, just because they pile up on my shelf and then I don't have room for my actual books. So yeah, my ARCs I'm slowly dwindling away my ARCs, reading them and then getting rid of, except for the signed ones. The signed ones I keep because I just like my signed ones. So yeah, I read this one, the sequel, and this one was so good. There was points when I was like, ha! And there was points when I was like, oh, but it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. The author kept me on the edge of my seat, turning pages. I was like, I need to know what happens. Oh my god, I need to know what happens. It was a really good book. So I'm really good. I don't know if there's gonna be a third book. I can't remember how the ending ended. Let me see. Let me just see if I can read the last page. No. It didn't, the way it ended didn't tell me that there was gonna be a next book, so who knows. But I think also I had no clue that this was gonna be a sequel at all, so I mean, I had no clue that this was going to have a sequel. So, you never know. There could be another surprising sequel. But who knows. So, the second book I read was another ARC from Around the World Art Tours, and it was called Second Star by Alyssa B. Sheinmel, something of that nature. It's about a girl who... Excuse me that I'm playing with my pencil, but I need to keep myself occupied. It's about a girl who lost her brothers. She lives with her mother and father, and she had 2 twin brothers, and they were surfers, but the brothers went off on a surf mission, and they either ran away or they got kidnapped and died. I mean, not kidnapped, they either just got caught in a surf and died. So they don't really know. They were just missing for a while, and then the parents were talking to the police, and the police gave them 2 broken up boards that looked like their boards and said these were found in a really bad surfing accident, and we believe that your sons were involved and they are dead. So the parents just had closure, and they just decided that the boys were dead and they needed to move on, but the daughter couldn't accept that. She knew that they were alive, or she felt that they were alive, and she went to go find them. So she ended up searching all these beaches, and she ended up on this one beach where she met this guy, and she she got in with their family, and she just stayed on the beach for a long time, and then things happened, and it was a really weird book. And the ending was even weirder. I was like, are you serious? What just happened? That was really messed up. Like, I felt like that was a total waste of my time. But at the same time, the book was really good, and I'm glad I read it. The next book I read was an ebook. It was called Model Position by Kitsy Clare, which was actually a little novella. It was 85 pages, and they asked me to read it for a blog tour, and I kind of felt bad because I didn't finish it in time. Or, no, that's not the truth. I was reading, and I had finished it, but I didn't realize, I wasn't keeping track of my calendar at all, and I hadn't realized that I totally missed putting the review up for the tour, so I put it up a few days ago on the blog and let the author and the publisher know that I totally screwed up and that was my fault, but I put the review up for them, so they said thanks, and that they understood, so that's good. Yeah, it was about a model named Sienna, not a model, an artist named Sienna, who she's in an art class, and has all kinds of friends. Well, she has 3 friends. She has 2 girls, and then she has Dave, who she's kind of dating, but kind of not. And then she meets Eric, who's the model that she's painting. and then she, like, totally falls in love with him, and so yeah, it was that kind of book, but it was really awesome, and, like, it ended so abruptly, and I was like, where's the rest of it? I was like, that can't just be it. So I'm kind of hoping that the author is writing, like, a series about it, but I kind of doubt it, because I feel like the premise of the book wouldn't be enough to make it a series. I feel like it was enough to make it a little bit longer of a novella, but probably not a whole series, or even a whole book. But I don't know, you never know, the author might surprise me. The author, I don't know if this is supposed to be a secret or not, so I'm not even going to say, so never mind. But the last book I read was Taliesin Ascendant by Megan Joel Peterson, which is book 2 in the Children of the Blood series. Last year, Megan Joel Peterson contacted me and said, will you read my book? And it sounded good, so I was like, sure. And liking the book, it took me a while to read it, but I ended up liking it, so I was like, sure. When she contacted me again, I was like, sure, I'll take on your second book. And the reason why I actually ended up, because when I read a book that's a series that it takes me a while to get through it, even series that I love, I can't read the next book right away because I just need a break. Even if it's amazing characters I love, even if it's Divergent, I had to wait a little bit to read Insurgent because I just need a break. I can't just jump right in, or else I'll get in a reading slump, which is my issue. Because even with Insurgent, I jumped in way too quick, and I got into a reading slump, and it took me forever to finish Insurgent. That was my fault. So I tried to do my best not to pick this up for a while, and then the author contacted me and asked me if I wanted to read the third book, and I was like, crap, I should probably read the second book. So I said yes, and then I read the second book, and I have the third book. So I'm going to wait a little bit and then read that one too, but it's probably not going to be for a while. But anyways, this was not as good as this first book, I have to say, but it still was pretty good-ish. Like, I think my review, it wasn't bashing it, but it really was just it was criticism, because this book really wasn't as good as the first book. Like, there wasn't as much action. There was more. I was bored more in this book than I was in the first book. There was more parts of this huge book that I was bored in than I was really engrossed in. Like, the action, I love the action. It's great, but there's not action throughout the whole book, which is kind of what throws me off. Sorry about that. My camera kind of cut off. So I think I'm just going to mash these two videos together so you probably won't even realize that the camera shut off. Anyways, I think I was talking about how this book kind of annoyed me because it was more boring than it was action-y. So I was saying that they would be better if there was like a chapter of like dialogue / boringness stuff than action. And then dialogue, boringish stuff, you know, the stuff that's the story, and then action. Like, if there was more action, I probably would have been like, yeah, I love this book, but there wasn't that much action, even though it looks like there should be plenty of action. I mean, fire, wizards, and, like, people, you know, it should have been action-y, but it really wasn't. So I'm hoping that the third and final book in the series will be better than this one. You never know. But not to bash the author, because she is a beautiful writer. I just couldn't get into that book. So anyways, that is all the books I've read in March. It's now April, and I'm reading new things, and I'm not in a reading slump, and I was going to show you a different book, but I remembered that I didn't finish that in April. In March. I finished it in April, like April 1st. So I won't show you that until next month. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Leave me links to you guys' wrap-ups below. I'd like to see what you read, or TBRs too, because I don't do those anymore because I just jinxed myself. But anyways, leave them down below anyway. Bye.